Broken beyond repair. The untold stories of those who were once broken.
Today's episode will shock you because Bishop David, when we see people that have problems, they still have strength to solve, natural problems. Because just like the sun shines for everybody,
Right.
the rain falls for everybody in life faces problem. However, there are situations that even the human being, like the doctors, the counselors, physicians, they say, no way, this person cannot recover. Doctors say he cannot make it. Parents say, no way to change my children. These are the ones that are considered to be broken beyond repair.
And you know, there are people, some people who've been to prison, who've been involved in gangs, involved in drugs. It's like they've been given many chances to change. They keep going back to the same thing. There are certain people that it's like they receive a label of hopeless. You know, this person is never going to change. They've been given chances. They don't take those chances. They're not trying to change their life. And in a situation like this, only God can change this person.
Only He can change, and He is the one that is going to change. If you feel like you are broken beyond repair, you are watching me and you say, no ways, my life can never change. I have tried again and again, nothing changed. Let me prove it to you through the story of Ashley and Anthony. How are you? Now you are okay.
Yes, now we're fine. But in the beginning, we had a very difficult relationship. We both came from broken homes, and we had generational curses where we both were addicted. I can speak for myself, Bishop. As a very young age, I had suffered from addiction. My mother, she was addicted, my grandfather. And so...
Let me ask you something. So when you met Anthony, your life, your family was already broken?
It was completely broken, yes.
Okay. So Anthony, you met a broken girl.
Well, broken boy met broken girl.
Say that,
yeah.
you can speak closer. Say that again?
Yes, it was broken boy met broken girl.
So you could not repair her, she could not repair
No,
you.
we were both beyond repairable. You know, Bishop, it was I was a mess. She was a mess, and it was just, we were just all, lost in our addiction, and that's how we met. Actually, was in our addiction.
Okay, let me do something. Bishop David, you are going to speak to the broken boy.
Okay.
I'm speaking here to the broken girl. You are saying that your family, parents, grandparents, the family was completely broken.
Correct, Bishop.
What happened?
So my grandfather had an affair. He cheated on my grandmother. That led to problems similar with my mother. So my mother, she had problems, with my father. They separated. She got really addicted into drugs, along with my uncles and also my grandfather. So they were really heavily into the drugs. And so whenever, as growing up in that type of environment, I had became addicted very young. At the age of 9, I had an addiction, marijuana addiction. And so then, I was already going through a lot of problems, and I had gotten into a relationship at a very young age. I was about, 15. I thought that getting into a relationship, Bishop, that was going to help me. I had so much anger, so much hate, resentment because of the addiction that consumed my family. My mother, she was never home. She left us with our grandparents. It was just a lot of fighting. Everybody was in and out of the home. So I was already used to that type of lifestyle.
So you were born, you grew up in that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to be different from your mom?
I did, Bishop. I hated the thought of, I hated drugs. I hated that environment. I promised myself that whenever I had children, that I was going to be nothing like that, Bishop. And so what happened was I had gotten a relationship. I had children. And in the beginning, it was okay. It was okay. I was in that relationship. We started to have problems. We started to have fights. I didn't understand why we couldn't even be in the same room with each other. But yet, when we were far apart, we would, we call each other, check up on each other. It was really difficult, Bishop. And we tried to make it work. 14 years in a relationship, 5 children. And we tried throughout all that time. It was very difficult. I had developed into even a stronger addiction during that time. But it was just hard. So when I developed into that, I started using crystal meth. And when I started using that drug, Bishop, I realized that I had become just like my mother. Everything that I hated about her, everything that I disliked about the family, I had brought it to my home.
So you did not want to be like her. You hate the way your mother was. She was never there for the family, for you.
Correct.
Now that you had 5 kids, you found yourself in your mom's shoes,
Exactly in her shoes.
doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And and many people say curses are not real. Curses do not exist. This is fiction. But what shall we say about this situation? She just became her mom.
She was doing something that she hated. Why would you do that? Why would you repeat a behavior that you hated as you were growing up? You despised it. But Ash, because she was under a curse, she couldn't help it. It was stronger than her. Can I
Yes, go
ask
ahead.
Anthony? Anthony, so how was your childhood?
So my childhood was similar to hers. I was raised in a broken home. My dad was in and out of prison, addicted to drugs also. And I remember, growing up as a kid, I used to say the same thing, like Ashley, I didn't want to be like my dad. I despised my dad growing up as a kid, I needed my dad, and he wasn't there. He was in and out of prison. And I used to tell people, like up until maybe a couple of years ago, I would always say, it's not a curse. They don't, Bishop said, it doesn't exist. So I always used to say, well, the things that I did growing up was because I wanted to do it. The choices I made as a kid to where I'm at now is because I wanted to do it. I chose to do drugs. I chose to go in and...
What did you do? What did you get involved in?
I was involved in...
you have a number of tattoos?
Yeah, I've been in and out of prison, ran around the streets, running around gang members, and, it just in and out of drugs
Carrying
How
guns?
many times
Yeah.
in prison?
yeah, man, Bishop, maybe about 5 times.
5 times.
Yeah.
What was the longest sentence?
It was 3 years.
3 years.
3 years, yeah. And just up until recently, too, I just came home in 2019, 19, and I was looking at a long stretch, and God also helped us out through that situation, too. So, but yeah, I remember telling, like, everything that I did, I wanted to do. And
That's what you said.
yeah, I didn't want to be like my dad, and yet here I was, exactly like my dad.
Exactly.
And so I
The
wouldn't...
drugs, the prison, not being there for your
yeah,
kids.
yeah, up and
So
yeah.
we see that it's something stronger than a person. It's like somebody that has this addiction of alcohol, drugs, cigarettes. A person wakes up and they say, no, last night was the last time.
Right.
I'm not going to use it anymore. It is harming myself, my family, right?
Yes, Bishop.
I want to stop. It's early in the morning, before 12 noon. He's already drinking. He's already using another drugs, marijuana. He also was crystal meth.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's something stronger than you.
Yeah, I lost a lot to the drug. I was in a 10-year relationship as well. My 3 oldest, and it was so bad, Bishop, that I chose the drug over my children. I'm barely starting a relationship with my oldest son, who's 22 now, and so like I'm,
So
I'm still.
you never saw him growing up. You were
No,
living
I
his
was
life.
no. I was, like I said, in and out of prison through his life, and even when I was given the opportunity to see him, I chose to go and get high. You know, there was a time where he came over to his aunt's house and I was there, and you know, the aunt, we were in addiction together as well. And so he came over and, you know, he wanted to play football. You know, he had the ball and everything, and I was in the room just getting high, and time just went by to where it was daytime. When I finally come out of the room, it's nighttime. You know, my son's nowhere to be found. And at that point, like, honestly, it didn't matter. I just wanted to get high. You know, like, that's how.
So you were indeed broken beyond repair.
Yeah, I was, you know, one of the ones.
We have these pictures, this loop of the substances. You used everything.
My addiction when I was younger started out with drinking and marijuana, and then it got into meth, and that was just my drug of choice. After that, there was nothing else. I just crystal
So
meth.
a lot of people who get hooked on crystal meth, they say it's just like a monster. It just takes over your life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, you don't have no feeling, you don't have no emotion, like, and that's to me, that's what made it kind of dangerous. And now I look back, you know, to where, like, using, like, I know that if I ever, like, there's no if I ever, because I'm done, like, but it's just so scary because of things that a person can do when you're addicted. There's no emotion, there's no, you know, you can do anything.
Bishop, there are a lot of people who say, you know, in these rehab centers and so forth, they say that you can never be free from an addiction. You're always a recovering addict. But we don't believe that.
No.
Because if God heals you, God can make a person into a new person so that you're no longer an addict anymore. You don't have to be afraid to go back.
You don't fall back. There is no relapsing, because if the Son of God sets you free,
You are indeed.
you are free indeed. You are not recovering. You are free. He does not take the substances away from you, friendship, gangs, and leave the crave in your system. No. The first place where God works is inside of a person.
Yes.
Once you are free, completely free, in your mind, that means your spirit, so then you are going to be free indeed. It's like somebody that wants to lose weight, and this person is in a diet program. What's the point to avoid the food that you like if you are not doing the diet here in your brain? So God works inside of you, your spirit. Before you do the diet program, you have to conceive the thought that you want to lose weight and you are going to do it. But a person has no strength to do so. There the power of God comes. Like, he knew his son was waiting for him, but he wasn't inside of the room, getting high, using drugs, destroying the family.
Yes.
But why didn't he stop? For a person that never had this problem, he is going to judge you and say, no, you don't want. You don't want. You don't change because you don't want, right?
Can I? Yes, I'm going to add to that, Pastor Bishop. Excuse me. So that's what I used to say before. I would always tell my mother, and I would always tell my family. Like I said, I have uncles, now my nieces, nephews, cousins. My whole family, from the oldest to the but the teenage, they're addicted, and so. And I would always say that. I would say, oh, a person, they only do what they want to do. And I would express that to my mother, you choose the drug over us. You never want to spend time with us. It's always the drug. And you can decide to be with us, but you don't. So there was a lot of hate and resentment. As I experienced that addiction, Bishop, I also had that, I understood because as much as I wanted to quit, I could not. I would tell myself, today's going to be the last day. I'm not going to do this anymore. And I couldn't overcome it until I came to the church.
Okay. In a few, they are going to tell us more about their story. In a few, you are going to hear more about their story. But I want you to understand something. They were broken, but now God repaired their lives. Their lives are completely restored. Stay tuned, watching us. The episode today is very deep, is very strong.
Do you feel broken and helpless? Join now the Broken Beyond Repair Challenge and begin to see great changes in your life. Call now at 1-888-332-4141 or text the word challenge to 1-888-312-4141.
You can send me a text message if you want to do the challenge. Broken Beyond Repair, it's a challenge, an episode that brings you real story, real people, but also we challenge you to change the situation. If you say, I am broken beyond repair, and you do not believe that there is a way out, you don't believe that your life can change, you are going to call this number, or you are going to send the text. The number for the call, 1-888-332-4141. If you accept, you take the challenge, I promise you, God is going to change and repair your life. For the text, it is there, 1-888-312-4141. One day, Ashley and Anthony, they did accept the challenge to change their lives. Anthony, I have a question for you.
Yes, Bishop.
You said that your father was in and out of jail.
Yes.
As a kid, did you ever go to prison to visit him?
Yeah. I remember going one time when I was a little kid, to visit him.
So then you saw your father in prison. Did you ever imagine one day I'm going to be on the other side?
No. I like I said, I didn't want to be like that. Yeah, I didn't want to, like, my dad wasn't the best dad, like he struggled with addiction as well. And so I remember just like Ashley, like I didn't want to be like that. And I ended up just like that.
First time on chains, go inside of prison. What came to your mind?
The first time, before I actually went to prison, I've been to jail, probably about 2 or 3 times. So I was kind of used to like, okay, I knew how it kind of was. I thought I had an idea of it, but when I got there, I was like, okay, it's different. I'm a small person, everybody's big, and you just you go to reception first, and so like it was different, like it kind of nervousness, and then that just for a couple of days, and then that was over.
When you left prison for the first time, did you promise yourself I'll never go back?
I'll never go back. Even to county jail, Bishop, it was the same. I would never go back. Nope. That's where a lot of people actually read the Bible, and a lot of people, you got a lot of people, prayer circles, and, and I was right there too, in the prayers, oh, man, God, I'm never coming back. Just let everything go good and I'll never come back. I couldn't last out without doing a violation. I mean, I wouldn't even go to check in to parole or probation.
What were the violations that you committed in order to be arrested?
They were all gun charges. 3 of them. Three of them. Drug charges. My violations, though, like back then, before you would go back to prison for a violation, which now you just go, you can do them in county jail. But back then, I would because I would never go check in with parole. Right when I got home, I would go straight back to drugs, straight back and just run amok until I got caught.
Not even see your parole officer?
No. There was one time actually that I had just hit rock bottom, and I remember going in and telling them, like, look, that was actually the first time that I had went to check in, and I did all right for a month. I went to check in. I had within 24 hours, went to check in. Gave me a whole, 2 weeks because I was on high control, so I had to go and see him every 2 weeks. Didn't do that. I just checked in.
Was everyone in your family the same as you?
I have cousins, that
brothers, sisters.
Both of my sisters. They're gonna kill me for this. They've been arrested, and we kind of follow the same footsteps.
So did your family look at you as a loser?
Honestly, like
just a troublemaker?
Yeah, and like I worried my parents the most. Now, my dad, you know, he's my hero. My dad is also a believer in God. He's Christian, goes to church, you know, and so like my mom, you know, she's I love my mom, and they worried about me the most. You know, there was times, you know, my mom would tell me, you know, like even tell Ashley, oh, thank God that, you know, he met you, and, you know, he's serving God now and doing this, because my mom was so worried to answer the phone when the area code calling her was a Fresno area code. She was afraid, like, you know, I'm going to get the news my son is dead, you know, or just, it was bad. So, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Ashley, the worst moment. You are going to say the whole life.
The worst moment?
So if I may ask, the worst moment of your life, so every moment in your life.
The worst moment in my life, Bishop, was when I had already established a relationship with Anthony. I met him, I was already at my lowest point. I got in a relationship with him, not intentionally, but it was just, you know, I had already gotten out of a relationship for 14 years. I had my children, as I explained earlier. I was broken. I had nothing. And so we would get high together, and we developed a relationship. That was the lowest point of my life, because I had wanted to quit. I couldn't, you know, I already had this depression, this anxieties. I had all this anger, suicidal thoughts, because I would think that if my life was this bad, that obviously God wasn't hearing my prayers. I would pray and I would say, please take me. I don't want to live this life no more. I'm tired. You know, I'm tired. If this is how I have to live, then let my kids go with their father, because this is not what I want anymore. I'm just like my mother. I'm trying everything I can with all the strength that I have, and I cannot move forward. I explained that to him, that I was, you know, that eventually I was going to quit doing drugs. We started to get in this relationship. He started to, I would hear things, you know, I would see shadows. People would tell me that I was high, you know, that I needed to go to sleep. He would think that I was lying. And, you know, it was just all of this chaos at that moment in time. It had just all came down, Bishop. And even to the point where he would black out and he wouldn't remember what he was doing. He would become aggressive. I would have bruises. I would have pieces of my skin, you know, torn off, chunks of hair, because it was like if I was fighting this spiritual battle, Bishop, with this demonic force, but I didn't know at the time what it was that I was facing. So I was literally in my home afraid to close my eyes to go to sleep. I was afraid to tell my family, because when he would come from not being blacked out, you know, he would come to, he wouldn't remember anything. And I didn't know what to do. So that was the lowest point in my life, was that moment there, that dark place where I just felt like there was no way out.
When you met Anthony, did you know his background?
Like I explained earlier, Bishop, we come from the same background. So at that point, it didn't really matter, because I didn't know how much it would affect him later.
You know, this is what emotion does. Because she came from a broken home and met somebody that was even worse than her. But when a person does not use the mind, that is the spirit, the power of thinking, just to use the heart, they say, this is life, this is my lifestyle, I am like this, he's also like this, so let us be together. Not realizing that things always get worse.
I think they started a relationship just because they were getting high together.
Yes.
And you know, you get to know someone and there's emotions, and a lot of times people don't use their mind and they get into a relationship without thinking.
That's
just
right.
in emotion.
Yes. Question.
Yes,
Who
Bishop.
came into church first?
She did.
I came to church first, Bishop. And it was around that time, that dark moment there, I couldn't seek help from anyone. I had an aunt who also I used to get high with. And but she was clean for a certain amount of time, and she always would tell me about this church, you know, always about the Universal Church, and they can help me. And I would always brush it off because I was so angry, but I knew that I needed help. So she invited me, and because of everything I was going through, she's like, oh my goodness, you need to go to this church. Someone, you know, they'll help you there. They'll get you the help that you need. And I was like, well, nobody believes me. They're going to think that, you know, my boyfriend, he's abusing me. They're going to take away my children. You know, it was just so much chaos, Bishop. So I decided, you know, to go. And I remember going and getting high before I went to church, because I had this anxiety inside of me, like, don't go, but a part of me needed to go. So I was fighting this battle, this struggle to go to the church. So she picked me up. She took me to the church, Bishop. And when she did, I remember going into the church and my body immediately became hot. I was hot and I was trying to find a way to get out of the church. But during that time, it had just barely, the service had ended and people were coming out. And so I had gotten lost in the crowd and I was like, so many doubts came to my mind. Nobody's going to understand me. All these things to make me leave. And on my way out, Bishop, a pastor's wife came out and it's like she noticed me. Out of the whole crowd, she noticed me, that I needed help or something, Bishop. And she came to me and I remember her telling me, do you need prayer? Do you let us help you? And I looked at her and I just broke down and cried, Bishop, because if she wouldn't have stopped me at that moment, I would have walked out. But I didn't. I went with her and I spoke with the pastor and he explained to me about this challenge. He was telling me about this amazing God that can transform my life. And if I would, if I believed and I would trust. And at that point, I was like, what else do I have to lose? I've already lost everything. I've lost my dignity. I've lost myself. I've lost my family. I've lost everything. So if this God is real that you're talking about, then let's see.
In that moment, she made a challenge with you.
Yes, Bishop.
That was the moment of the challenge.
Yes.
And you did accept the challenge.
I did, Bishop. I accept that challenge, and I went with all of my strength. There was days that it was hard for me to get up. Days that, it was 100 and something degrees, and I would walk and I would go because I had to I gave my word, and if that's what was going to change my life, because there was nothing else that was, the drugs weren't doing it for me. The relationships that I was in wasn't helping me. Friends, family that were there that were trying to. Nothing was helping me. All the programs that they want to give to help, they don't help. At the end of the day, you still feel empty. You still feel angry. You still feel lost. And so if this is what it was going to take, then I was going to do everything that I could to see if it was going to work. And if it wasn't, well, then I was going to die. But at that point, what did I have to lose?
Okay. Anthony.
Yes.
How long after she came, you also came?
It was about a week. She didn't let me. About 2 weeks. I wanted to see her, and she was like, "Nope, you can't see me." And I was just like, man. So one day she called, and she came over to her aunt's, the one that led her to, and she's like, "Oh, if I'm over here." So I came over there, and immediately, and I remember I was just like, there was something about her that looked different. Like she was just like, I don't know, her everything just looked different. I knew she was different, and she was telling me about the church and if you wanted to continue to see me, then you got to come to church. Bishop, I was a mess. I would run the streets, house to house. I didn't
shower.
And I didn't shower, and so I ended up going to the church. Like you said, God says, "Come as you are." So I went as I was, and
I remember
I started.
Yeah.
So then I started going, but it wasn't up until not too long. We've been in the church for going on 7, going on. Yeah.
Well, when you came the way you were. We see the tattoos.
Yes.
If you can please close your eyes. So I'm going to ask the cameras to show you have tattoos.
Even on his eyelids.
Yes, the eyelids, we see the tattoos over there. So that was the smile for
me. Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay, close your eyes again. Let me read the smile for me. See the tattoos over there, your neck as well.
Yeah.
So your body covered with tattoos.
Yeah.
You had many days without showering when you came. Question: did anybody criticize you or judge you for these tattoos, because you were smelling when you came in?
No, in the church, no.
No, not in the church.
Oh, out in the.
No, when you first came.
When you first came to church.
The first day you came to church, did anybody judge you?
No. No one judged me. No one criticized me. The pastors were nice. We even had the helpers. You know, they would come in because they could relate. So it was pretty good that I had went, because at that time, the assistant, you know, he had been through what I had been through, and so I got to, you know, speaking with him.
I mean,
and
ask
so-
you this question, Bishop David, because in many churches, people like him cannot
You know,
go.
their churches will tell people, you know, go home and you know, change your clothes. You can't come in like this. You know, that's not appropriate.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because during the time when we started, remember, we actually went to this church.
We tried one church and we went the way we were, and it was the best that we had at the time, Bishop.
Right.
And it was not appropriate maybe, but it was the best that we had, and we went really trying to go, and we were criticized so bad.
Yeah, we
they
walked in
looked at
and
us like if we were disgusting, and they went amongst themselves, the congregation, and they neglected us. They totally made us feel uncomfortable, and I was like, wow, if this is what church is, you know,
Yeah.
then we don't need this, because it was awful. The way they made us feel was like,
And just like how they looked at me and just, you know.
it just made us feel
weird.
so, we were feeling bad already, you know, and then for someone to make us feel that way, it was just, it was a little bit harder, but we had to go through what we went through in order for us to be
All
open.
Okay,
Sure.
you are watching me right now and you say, I want to go to your church. Can I come? That's my answer. Come as you are. There is no dress code in this church. Come as you are with the clothing, the outfit that you have. Come as you are. And the Lord will transform your life. Because the way you see them well-dressed, a beautiful couple today, was not the way they came. But we believe in change.
Yes.
We believe that God can repair. I want you to come here closer to your TV, your computer, your smartphone, to hear now the transformation in their lives. Did God repair your lives?
Oh, beyond
Yes.
repaired,
Beyond
Bishop.
repair.
Where I'm at today, I could have never imagined. If you would have told me, you know, 6, 7 years ago, this is where I would be, I would never believe you. I would ask you, how is that possible? And he has, I am not the person that I am before. Our marriage is actually better. We can communicate. You know, it's a work in progress. It's not perfect. You know, we all have our issues, but, you know, even with my kids, even Bishop, so much God has restored our life that the father of my children, I could not stand him, Bishop. I cursed him. I could not stand this man. But along the way, now I forgave him, and we have like the best relationship. We co-parent. We can speak to our, you know, the exes in our lives openly, have conversations with them. They're involved in, you know, in our family. So it's not just my husband and I and our children, but the parents of the children also. So that was a blessing to be able to have them involved in our lives, you know, our families. God's just done so many amazing things, Bishop. I would keep you here all day if I had to explain.
We don't know how much time you got.
Anthony, your
Yes.
turn. Did God repair your life?
Yes, from where I was to where I'm at now, like, yes, by far. I mean, I'm not perfect, you know, like, but I'm not getting there, but I'm doing a lot way better. Like, there's no, I got meat, you know, it's a
What,
way. like-
before you were really skinny?
Oh, man, you touch me here and you're just immediately touching my rib. You know, you slap me in my face, you're gonna break my cheek. You know, like it was bad. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm to where I'm at now is just
We have
that's
these
only
pictures
God.
of your past life. Was that you?
Yeah,
My goodness.
yeah. There's some other bad ones. Too.
So
Yeah, it was pretty.
you were really broken.
Yeah, I was, man. I had glue holding me together. See, you hit me in my cheek, and yeah, there that went.
So, but now God did repair. How do you feel inside?
You know, honestly, Bishop, it took me a long. Like I said, we've been in the church for a while, but I never decided to make the choice to, like, you know what, I gotta just let go and let God. Recently we had went through something, and you know, now just to get here, flying is not my thing. I was so afraid of it, and you know, like I said, we just recently went through something, and God, I mean, He did something amazing, you know, to where I just thought I was gonna lose my mom. I was gonna not, you know, make it either, and I decided, like, God, look, if you can get me through this, get my mama through this, I have nothing else to go on. I have to trust you. So magnify yourself. Yeah, just put everything
God's
in.
hands.
And I'm here. My mom's home, you know, and just getting on the plane. I didn't have no
you
fear.
are talking
I feel
about
great. I feel great. I feel, you know.
you are talking about your relationship with God.
Yes.
It's different because before you did not have this
No,
confidence, distrust.
No, I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and that's what messed up everything, you know. But now it's like you know, I told her, like, whatever we do here, I hope that it can help people.
Yeah,
you know, the way
yeah,
God
definitely.
helped me, and I, you know, like, everybody that's watching this, like, we were broken beyond repair. So, you know, don't think that there's no help. There's help. God will help you. You just gotta let Him, and you gotta trust Him and do your part. And that's where I'm at now. Like, I feel so good inside. Like,
Amen.
I'm ready to just see what else, you know. But give me some more time.
Yeah, oh yeah. Ashley.
Yes,
Who is
Bishop.
Ashley today?
Oh, Bishop, today I'm free, Bishop. I'm free. I'm free. I'm myself, you know. I'm a person I never thought I would be. I've come so far. You know, I have all this joy, this happiness, this love, Bishop, that I've never had before. This love that I have for people, you know, and mercy, and it's just, I want to help so many people, Bishop, and I've never had that before. I didn't even want you to look at me because, you know, it was just awful. It was just awful, Bishop, but I am not that person anymore, and I just want to do God's will, and I just want Him to use me and to, you know, to help other people that are going through the same thing.
That camera is going to be yours.
Amen.
I want you to challenge this person, the other Ashleys over there, other Anthonys over there, that are having the same exact lifestyle you had. I remember you saying that wife of the pastor challenged you when you were leaving the church. You did take the challenge, now you are here. Mm-hmm. What do you say to others over there?
Bishop, what I say to others is, you who are out there who are suffering, who think that there's no hope, who's lost and broken, and think that the whole world, you know, don't understand you and nobody else is going through what you're going through and you feel alone and hopeless. I just want to let you know that there's people out there that are willing to help you. There's, you know, you just have to take that chance, that decision. You know, life it's going to give you what it gives you, but it's up to you to make the best out of it. And the best thing that you can make is a decision. God, He's never going to fail you. You know, people will fail you multiple times and continue to fail you, but God never fails you. And I'm here as a living example that if you trust and believe in Him, if you do your part, because it's not so much about believing and praying, but you have to take action and do your part. So I challenge you who are out there right now to come to the Universal Church, call this number here and find a church near you and call to get that help that you need and to take that challenge. And I guarantee you without a doubt, 100%, that the God that I serve, He will do great things in your life.
Yeah, she said it all. Great things in your life. That was one more episode of Broken Beyond Repair. What else shall I say? What else shall I add? Take the challenge and you are going to see your life transformed.
Do you feel broken and helpless? Join now the Broken Beyond Repair Challenge and begin to see great changes in your life. Call now at 1-888-332-4141 or text the word challenge to 1-888-312-4141.